Hello. Hello. Welcome back, everyone. Welcome back to welcome to the audience members, and definitely welcome YouTube back here to Did You Know podcast, where we are spotlighting digital creators and showing how they are paving their way here in the metaverse. So tonight, our special guest has been in and around Web3 developing since 1999, y'all. 99. We're going to do a deep dive into what the 99s were looking like at the time, but but we have a pioneer here that has been creating immersive designs and artistry and experiences that don't only dazzle, but he educates, connects, and he preserves history. So tonight, please welcome Second Life Rich to Did You Know podcast. Hey,
Thank you,
you're
Amina, for
welcome.
having me on. Greetings, everyone.
Absolutely. So we're gonna dive into it. We're gonna, like I said,
Let's
we're
go.
gonna take a walk down the 99s in a minute. But what brought you to VR? This
Well,
this digital space. Yeah, what brought you to discovering what you could do here in VR?
the journey kind of goes back, you know, before Meta changed the name from Facebook to Meta. Before going back to the early 2000s,
Mm-hmm.
I had modified a version of Grand Theft Auto Vice City, made it Grand Theft Auto Gym City, which I'm from Dayton, Ohio, so we're the Gym City. And I put a lot of
Mm-hmm.
my friends in there, put a lot of our local businesses in there, changed all the cars, all that sort of stuff. And so going all the way back then, I've always been interested in game development and things like that. But,
Mm-hmm.
once again, just, on my own time and tinkering here and there. But so I also used to play Second Life a little bit,
Mm-hmm.
but not like like I'm kind of like not very social. I don't have a lot of friends and things like that. But I would be in Second Life by myself, exploring over the years, going all the way back to the early 2000s. I've been exploring Second Life here and there, not hardcore, but the like over this entire time. And so over these years, I've accumulated a bit of experience and also thoughts about
Mm-hmm.
the future of how
Mm-hmm.
this stuff would evolve. So when Facebook changed the name to Meta, it actually, like, I just saw this flood of interest go into the metaverse and into 3D virtual worlds. I mean, people, even some of the people that I knew personally in the physical world that didn't care anything about a 3D virtual world started asking me questions about the metaverse and started talking
Mm-hmm.
about the Decentraland and all sorts of stuff. And so it just created a lot of buzz that I'm like, okay, maybe it's time. And so I started looking at some of these other platforms. Mainly, I started out mainly, uh being a person from Second Life and having experience over there and also understanding the capabilities of the platform. I was sizing everything else up against Second Life. And at
Mm-hmm.
this time, even though I've had VR projects in the past, even my wife will, can help talk about some of them. She was part of some of them back when the Samsung used to have the Gear VR headset,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and you could put your phone in it and see VR. So I had a metaverse project, a VR project back then. Um, it was a daycare center that we built the VR version of their daycare, and
Mm.
um, and it was really primitive in comparison to what we can do today. But the interest was there, and I always saw the vision because me being a web developer, I've always like kind of saw that the 3D, even when it comes to Second Life, I've got a video. If you scroll way down on my YouTube channel, go back like maybe 5, 6 years, there's a video on there where I'm telling people that you're going to have to download my tutorials and WordPress tutorials and plugins and things like that from Second Life world. Like, so I had already started to like think about, I want people to come into my 3D world. And in that video, I kind of explained the benefits of that because I knew I was talking to people that didn't mess with 3D worlds. But I
Mhm.
wanted people to learn Second Life. And so I was going to fill my world up with valuable stuff that people, occasionally are willing to learn Second Life in order to come and get. But shortly after that period, like everything started happening with like the metaverse buzz that I was just talking about. And so I started looking at these other platforms and comparing them to Second Life. And actually starting out, like this is why my name is kind of is well, one of the reasons my name is Second Life Rich, but
I
kind of
was gonna
starting out
ask you that.
distinguishing myself, like I'm a person that, I believe in Second Life, but I'm just over here kind of exploring and, kind of seeing what you guys got going on. But I actually ended up really like just kind of seeing, first of all, the vision that I've got in my mind isn't even possible, like fully yet, and certainly wasn't possible back then. But
Mhm.
the same way happened to me with the web in general. Like I saw the vision of the web back before the internet was fast. And I saw the vision of VR before it was capable of doing all the things that I imagine we'll be able to do in here. And even at this point, it's still buggy. You can only get a few people in. Monetization is hard. Most people don't believe in it, et cetera, et cetera. Like all sorts of, challenges or, like
Mhm.
things that are just like, um, not in favor of it, right?
Mhm.
That still exists, but over time, all that falls away with like because they're working on improving the technology, and as the technology improves and things get faster, then adoption grows, and we use it for more stuff, and then it becomes more integrated in our lives, just like the happened with the web, just like what happened with cell phones, just like what happens with everything else. So at this point, I just want to like first of all, like I just really stay impressed and amazed at like even what we can do now. Being able to
Mhm.
sit inside of this environment, you are in one part of the earth, I'm in another part of earth. All of these people out here that are guests watching this podcast, they're in different parts, but we have a sense of presence, and we're sitting here in this nice, fancy little studio, and just like this has tremendous value. And
Tremendous.
I just believe that it takes time for the rest of the world to catch up.
Mhm.
But I believe eventually they will catch up, and when they catch up, I would like to be a player in this space.
You
And
will
so
be. We will be.
right, we all will be. But and so this is what so this is what my vision back then is based on, is that um I kind of like see where this is going, and I just want to like do my part of figuring out, how it aligns with me and with skills that I'm capable of acquiring and interest that I have and value that I'm able to offer, so that, I can just go along for the ride, because I believe that it's going up. But the 2D web has turned into the 3D metaverse,
Mhm.
but it's the same core foundational technology. We're still on the internet. you know
Still on the internet. And as a matter of fact,
Just a
let's take a
different
little
browser.
right. Let's take a little stroll down memory lane really quick
Mm,
just to have a sense of perspective of the times that we're talking about. So, because we are modern now since
yes, we
we've
are.
picked up with web 3, we forget, but back in, the early 90s, the dot-com boom started. What you were
Mm,
mentioning earlier when companies first started the idea of, hey, I can put my business on the internet and take off with the different marketing that way. During
mm-hmm,
that same time, Microsoft was in its peak. It was just beginning to really kind of take off and start its computing web, Windows 98 and Office during the same time. Apple just launched iMac
mm-hmm,
around the late 90s as well. Amazon in 94 was just beginning to pick up. They had the online bookstore and then they began
mm-hmm,
expanding into other products. But eBay and Yahoo were the main internet
definitely.
browsers and stuff during that time. So
Mm-hmm,
we've had a couple of other guests, Peter Host and as well as Rico Vino, all
okay.
three of you, and of course, have been pioneers where VR was just being introduced, where we were accessible to it. So you have
Mm-hmm,
seen it really grow. So
for sure.
share what that experience has been like with watching the technology evolve.
Well, for me, and this is something else my wife can kind of talk to you about if you want. But for me, well, first of all, like I really love this stuff. Like I'm like, I'm not in it for the money. Like I
Mhm.
do enjoy money like everyone else, but ever since I first got introduced to computers. And another thing is like I'm not a person that was introduced at a young age. I was introduced to computers at like 18. Okay.
Mhm.
And so I was already like somewhat of a mature, person. And then also I was introduced to it in a certain way that really, really, really resonated with me for life. But the person and they had no idea what they were doing, but they would just, this was a person that it that he first of all he was, he was a black guy, young black guy, and someone that I could relate to. And there had never been anyone else I had met that liked computers. Like I'm from,
Mhm.
the hood, like um, so we didn't have that kind of stuff, and no one around did. But this guy, and the situation that we was in that I got to meet him, we he used to tell me stories, and he would tell me stories about things that he was doing on the computer and and he was like a computer. I'm like, he was a really, really, really smart guy, and he used to just tell me stories about stuff, and I used to be amazed. And that's what really sparked my interest and really got me to want to learn about computers. And so from the time I started learning about them, I just wanted to, for the things that I'm interested in, I just wanted to
Mhm.
really understand how they work. And I most of my time, I call it talking to computers because you're programming, but like, or trying to make them do stuff. So the time that I'm not spending with back then, like a girlfriend or something like that, like I'm literally on a computer, like ever since I got
Mhm.
started. And so
Mhm.
the reason I say all of that is because when I needed a way to earn, because I'm even though I went to college, I'm primarily self-taught and pretty much everything. But I've needed to, like I'm kind of like an entrepreneur, and so I mainly do freelancing, and I've mainly my
Mhm.
entire adult life done freelancing. At first, it would be locally in our city, and I would go to local businesses, but then um, I started finding ways of finding clients online. all of the formatting and everything right inside the HTML tables, and you ended up with this big chunk of mess of code. But it was the way it worked. But then when Web 2.0 started coming, and now the principle is to separate, the data from the logic and the presentation layer, like the theme or the design. You want to separate all of those. And so now that's a completely different development paradigm. And I had to learn, like all sorts of stuff that I didn't know before in order to be able to fit into that paradigm.
Mm-hmm.
And also at this time, I was doing a lot of Flash. Like this is back for anybody that go back far enough. Maybe you remember Macromedia Flash. I used to build like really cool like pages that had stuff moving and all sorts of effects and everything. And I would even embed those on MySpace pages to build like super cool MySpace pages. So those was my core services. That's how I made my money. But then, MySpace dies. Pretty much Flash. Once the iPhone came out, it killed Flash. Like Apple killed Flash. Nobody wanted Flash anymore. Then, search engine optimization came out. That became something important. So now you can't even use Flash anymore. And then also, like a lot of the old ways we were doing things don't work with search engines. You got to make sure that everything is SEO optimized and structured a certain way. So then I had to learn all that in order to be able to keep selling
Mm-hmm.
services. So then responsive comes out, and then you got to learn responsive, and then, but just on and on and on. So, like each inflection point, because I don't work for corporate, like where you just like stuck into a routine, a way of doing things for years or something like that. Like I have to constantly stay relevant for me to freelance my services to people online. And so I have to constantly learn these new technologies. And so um, I found
Is
WordPress.
that
Oh, go ahead.
is that why yeah, I was gonna ask you about your clubs. You got the HumAi club as well as your LuxeVR.
Hmm.
So are those the different type of skills that you would say that you are using to
Well,
stay relevant?
well, when it comes
One second, y'all. Can y'all hear us? Are we cutting in and out?
You're cutting in and out for me
except for the digital
the whole
skills
Okay.
time.
workshop, but pretty much all business goes through HumAi LLC. And
Okay.
HumAi LLC is the business. But then you'll notice that like there's the HumAi Club and then there's the
Mm-hmm.
LuxeVR Club. And so the reason why these are clubs, first of all, is because they're they are we we cater to a small little group of people that share interests and align with each other. And so when it comes to HumAi, at its core, like I'm really passionate about education, and HumAi is kind of like pretty much everything that HumAi Club is pretty much everything that revolves around education. The
Mm-hmm.
slogan for HumAi is exploring, learning, creating. Okay, and so, but LuxeVR was born, and like I'm more of a co-founder of LuxeVR in a way. I mean, LuxeVR is kind of like born out of the community in a way because, well, I mean, me and Brown Diamond and um, Robert Hood and Cyber Shay and Flashy, and a few other people, like we all come up with the core, um, principles of it, but it's like a community. But LuxeVR was born starting with a red face luxury watch that I created. And so
Mm-hmm.
from that point, like it was originally going to be a tutorial piece, but the response from everyone online is what indicated that there needs to be a service that I provide and a like um basically like a group of us that just use this stuff. Like before LuxeVR, I just made tutorials and provided assets that people could download and modify themselves. I would never
Mhm.
like what now. I still would do stuff for a person if there was a client, um, but I didn't really post about that stuff. Like I don't really post most of the business that I do. I really only post about stuff that, are related to what the community would be interested in. But most of my business
Mhm.
clients, like that stuff, I can't post about that stuff even if I wanted to. But when it comes to Lux VR, it's like this is something that I can like help a person shine without them having to do anything. So like you
Mhm.
just get the necklace, you get the avatar, you get the whatever it is, the asset of whatever it would be. And so, we come up with iced out Thursdays in order to have a place for people to put the jewelry on and kind of
Mhm.
enjoy each other's company and do some networking and listen to some good music. And we've been doing it all the way back at alt space. And so with alt space, and we was making a significant investment in Lux VR back then in order to build up the MRE and make it real convenient for people to like access their jewelry if they had custom jewelry. And then there was also the base collection that world owners could put in their world and then be able to let people in their world access the jewelry. And so we don't do with the MRE now, but here in Horizon Worlds, I'm actually like considering a way to do it since we can share assets with each other. But essentially, with Lux VR, instead of you learning how to do anything, you just you just shine. Like we just so with the avatars, we focus on making the avatars the way
Mhm.
you need the avatar to be. Most of the people that we focus on want to look like themselves as much as possible, want to showcase their brand, and so that's what we focus on delivering on. So we focus on you know photorealistic avatars and outfits and jewelry that represent a person the way they want to be represented in the metaverse.
Now, I've seen some of your videos of maybe the day that you are launching maybe a new
Mhm.
avatar to a new client. It's really dope. You guys
Oh,
kind of
thank
do
you.
what a reveal in VR chat with
Yes, we
bringing the
do.
client in and they showcase it.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
So
that's
we
really dope concept. So is that
thank
those
you.
the night? Is that the iced out Thursdays night?
It
Okay.
is. Yes. So one of the things that we do, and we started this back in Alt Space VR also, but back then it wasn't avatars, it was a person's custom jewelry. And so for
Okay.
example, like Tony Stark, for example, he's one of the ones we did it with. When we made Tony Stark's necklace and everything, he came and collected it at Iced Out Thursday. Now what that meant was, it had a briefcase open with the pieces in there. And then also in the MRE, everyone would be able to wear it also and try it on. And, there's mirrors in there and everything. But going back then, so most of the time, not all the time, but most of the time, when we build something for someone, we deliver it at Iced Out Thursdays. And so
Okay.
even though I'll still like if they want the files, I'll still send them the files personally and they can still upload into their own account if they want to. Just for the sake of like first collecting it, seeing it, it's the first time that they see it also. So they never see the avatar before this moment. Now, naturally, if they want any changes or anything, I'm happy to make these changes. But um, this is a first reveal. So the people in the audience
Mhm.
and the person themselves see it for the first time. So there's a kind of like I don't know, not shock factor, but
A
like it's
reveal?
yeah, like a reveal, right? And
Mhm.
it's right reveal right there in front of everyone. And so we like to try to capture the moment. We really enjoy like a person's reaction. Often when a person puts on the avatar and they see themselves, like it's kind of trippy for them, and so
Yeah.
we enjoy kind of trying to capture that in video as much as we can. But yeah, it's fun. It also lets other people see what's possible for them if they're interested as well.
Mhm.
And yeah, and it's something that it's always me, Brown Diamond, Cyber Shay, and Flashy. And Flashy is he's quite the hype man. He he gets up there and really really gets going. He Flashy is a salesman and hype man for sure.
I very seldom come over to VRChat, but I may have to come
Mhm.
and take a peek and see what's going on over there
Yeah,
on that side of the
come through,
VR.
get iced out. Come check us out.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll ice you
Okay.
out. No matter what avatar you come in, we're gonna put necklace on you, put a fedora on you. You can sit in the fitting throne, put some shoes on you. So yeah, we'll ice you out
Okay.
real nice.
Well, let's go back kind of let's go back to your workshops.
Mm,
Curious to see because I know that you are collecting your own analytics and make what some people what they are doing when they leave out of class. So, how
mm.
are you seeing creators and entrepreneurs apply what they've learned through your workshops into their businesses?
Sure. Okay. So first of all, we've got a lot of people that are now web developers. Like literally, like we've got, and then in here right now, we got IT Trey, we got Cyber Shay in the building right now. Both of those people are not only have built their own websites, but also built websites for other people in the community. Like Cyber Shay's even built the website for the block. Using the resources and skills from the digital skills workshop. And so we are not only when it comes to the website stuff, but then also like everyone in our workshop are really thriving using AI, using the latest AI tools. Like there's no one in our workshop that doesn't understand AI. They're all really understanding AI, using the tools, applying it in their workflows, and benefiting from the benefits of having intelligence at your fingertips. And
Mhm.
then when it comes to our Horizon Worlds workshop, especially since we've got Biggie Pauls that's a part of it also, we
Mhm.
are like helping people become Horizon Worlds builders, and they're learning scripting. People that may had never been able to figure out how to get started with scripting are
Mhm.
like literally scripting. And so I think that it's it's a lot that I'm seeing, yeah.
Mhm. Okay.
Basically
Okay.
across each one of them, yeah.
Okay. So we've heard you talk about Outspace. We know that you're building in VR chat and here. How are you how do you manage working across multiple platforms?
Sure. Okay. For starters, it's always been like something that I felt was essential, because if first of all with LuxeVR, um with our clients, no matter which platform they want to use their assets on, I promise that they'll be able to, as long as that platform supports it. And so, in order to be able to make that promise, me and my team have really, really fundamental understandings of 3D and of other core aspects of
Oh, you
developing
was
in
on
general. And then what we do is we take that and we study documentation and we will, figure it out. And so what now it's not going to be every platform that exists.
Mhm.
Um, I'll probably not even go into every platform exists, but each platform that, makes sense for me, my team, and the people we target. It's essential that we learn how to get our assets into that platform and be able to do at least, reasonable level of building. Doesn't mean we got to be the top builders on the platform. Doesn't mean that
Mhm.
we've got to win competitions, but we have to be able to build business spaces.
Mhm.
Yeah. And
Okay.
so a lot of studying, a lot of practicing, and
Learning the
networking,
tools from
learning the
each.
tools in each one.
Mhm.
Yep. And then
Mhm.
building alliances with creators on those platforms. And that's another thing that I try to do. Each platform, I've got like, a, a network of people that provide me with help and support. And so, I've got between, my own studying and using AI, and then also most of the time I'll have someone on a platform that'll be happy to help me through just about anything. And if they're not happy to do it for free, I'm always happy to pay. So
Mhm.
we're gonna figure out how to get past those humps. And shout out to Dunder Bills in the back there. Dunder Bills has been instrumental along my whole metaverse journey, going all the way back to when I was in Mozilla Hubs. Dunder Bills introduced me to Space VR. I had Dunder Bills. I used to have a podcast, and technically feel like I still got a podcast. We just really slow to roll out new material,
Mhm.
but it's been years. but, but we'll drop something else again one day. But Dunder Bills was on my podcast, and he came in on Mozilla Hubs, and he was looking like, "Yo, you should bring this into Space VR." And I had at that time I had been in All Space VR, but I had just seen it from the cheesy like worlds that be on that
Right.
menu. I had never seen the real world. He was like, "Nah, I gotta take you into my world." Boy, Thunderbills took me into his world. First of all, he had a smoke jacket on. And he was smoking a pipe and walking around his mansion. Like I had never seen anything like this in VR. I was blown away. And that's what got me excited and showed me the vision, because with Mozilla Hubs, it was really limited because of it being a browser based platform, especially back then. It just wasn't as strong in
Mhm.
capabilities as Allspace VR being a Unity based platform. You see what I'm saying? Like just
Mhm.
magnitudes difference in capabilities. So I was like, I went straight over to Allspace VR from Mozilla Hubs. I never looked back. And yeah, and so then and here in Horizon Worlds, Dunder has been very helpful for overly helpful for anything that I've ever needed to do in here. I mean, it's nothing that I can need to do in here that Dunder hasn't either helped me do or wouldn't help me do if I asked him. I have to try not to let him know I'm struggling with something because he'll help. Like, he's so helpful. Like sometimes, a lot of times I like to figure it out myself. You know what I mean? But if I utter that I'm having a challenge, like and that's the thing, I've just really been fortunate to meet people like this along my journey that for some reason, want to help. And so I appreciate it and
Amazing.
try to return.
Yes,
Hmm.
it's wonderful when you can run into great people here on these social platforms where you can build a brand together, build alliances, network. So to be
Mm,
able to see it come full circle. Now you guys
definitely.
are here in on Horizon Worlds. We're
Hmm.
killing it in here. So that's
Definitely, definitely.
exciting.
Ain't
Listen,
going
so
nowhere but up.
say it again, say it
Going
again.
up.
So you are also there's another element to what you do is digital twins. There's been
Mm,
a huge buzz lately with companies and cities taking a look into providing digital twins in their cities. imarkgroup.com states that the
Mm-hmm.
global digital twin market size is valued at 23.4 billion in 2024 and looking to go up to 219 billion by 2033.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Tell us, how are you seeing brands and professionals use digital twins and what makes them powerful in the
Sure.
XR space?
Okay. Well, before I talk about, well, the first company I'd like to mention is NVIDIA and what they're doing with digital twins. So they've got an initiative pretty much to, first of all, it's called Omniverse, and they are aiming to pretty much like digitize the entire planet and everything on it, essentially. And they're using a lot of AI and technology in order to digitize physical items. Okay, so
Mm-hmm.
that's an approach. And even when it comes to our approach, like right now, the way we do digital twins involve cameras and doing things by hand. But we've actually been looking into like Matterport uh, scanning technology that we can purchase, invest in,
Mm-hmm.
and then use that in order to kind of the development of the digital twins that we work on. But the way I see it, the way we see it, is that everything in the world has to be digitized. And NVIDIA, they've got their approach. Right now, we're a couple humans that believe the same vision, and we've got a certain set of skill sets and energy. And so, also with the other side of what I do when it comes to web development and marketing stuff, it all works together in a way. And so what we've got like right now a target of museums, and so we
Mm-hmm.
believe that we can bring value to museums, and so
Mm-hmm.
they're one of our targets, and so we're you know constantly on the lookout for new potential clients and negotiating with museums. And we plan, like if you think about it, like all the museums in the United States technically
Mm-hmm.
needs the same thing that we did for Civil Rights Institute, and also with the Houston Museum, and some other stuff that we had done as well. So we are right now kind of focused on them, and then also like looking at what other types of businesses that are in alignment with like kind of how we do things, and the type of use cases that we have. So it's not only about making digital twins for us. We want to make a digital twin that you actually come into a platform and experience. And
Mm-hmm.
so in our platforms of preference are VRChat, Spatial, and Horizon Worlds. And so we're interested in certain types of businesses that need a digital twin of their business and products and services, products and, artifacts that will want it to be in a social space. And then we can do things like what we did with Civil Rights Institute, where we actually got the director of the institution to come in and give guided tours of the exhibits in the same way they
Mm-hmm.
do in their physical locations. So in our
Mm-hmm.
vision, it's like, okay, everything that's going on in the physical world to some degree has to go on in the virtual world so that people can
Mm-hmm.
experience it. So like, because if you think about it, like if when you take that tour, if you show up in their physical building and you take the tour, I mean, since we built everything like so close to match visually what the real world one looks like you're getting it probably about at least 75% of the experience, maybe, you
Mm-hmm.
know And
Mhm.
so but then you're trading that 25% off with being able to come anytime you want, being able to sit in your underwear and do it,
The
not having to worry
expensive
about your
travel.
keys, right?
Yeah.
Exactly, the expensive
Yeah.
travel, etc. So,
Yeah.
so then, so how can you not get excited about like the potentials of that? Like once you see that vision, then
Mhm.
there's so much work to be done.
It
Like there's
is.
because
It is.
everything like this has to be applied to everything, just about everything that you can imagine.
So I'm gonna catch YouTube up because every now and then I check in with them because they
Hmm.
don't. A lot of the people that watch my YouTube are new to learning what any of this technology even means. So
Okay.
we're discussing digital twins. Digital twins are, let's just say, pick. We'll just use for an example the Civil Rights Institute that you built here in
Hmm.
VR. Second Life created this civil rights institution. It's a look-alike, basically, of the real world establishment. So he created that here in VR, and it's called a digital twin. So a lot of companies and brands are moving to the digital twin because it will provide more global marketing for them, and some of the other reasons what we just discussed. Can go anytime that you like, cut down on travel expenses, and as far as a business, it can also cut down on those expenses as well. So we're
Hmm.
seeing a lot of brands moving into this digital twin aspect of VR.
Right.
Hmm.
And adding to that, not and also expanding your brand's, visibility,
Mhm.
because when you let's take for example, in VR chat, if you are in here in your own, likeness, and you're wearing clothing that is on brand with, like your brand, it's got your logos on it, colored, to match your branding, etc. It's got a message on here. When you go around into events or into public spaces, into worlds, they see it. They see it
Mhm.
too. So if you were to wear a shirt into a public space that had a message on it and people saw it, it has the same exact impact in here
Mhm.
because people see it, so if you have your building created and you have your products created in there, a person can come in. We've done this for quite a few clients where we've literally built their products and put them in here, and then a person can come in and can look at it, and yeah, it's not the product, but you get a sense of what it is. And then at this point, someone from your team can come in and actually talk to the person about that product that's sitting right
Mhm.
here. And it's like, and you can have this conversation, and then the product can get shipped out to them, and it'll be essentially, what they stood here talking about. So a
Mhm.
digital twin, it enables you to digitize whatever you were doing in the physical world, just
Mhm.
about, and it's going to just get more capable. But yeah,
Mhm.
it's bringing a lot of those capabilities that you was only able to do in the physical world into
Mhm.
the digital.
Now, I'm a huge fan of couples and husbands
Mm.
and wives working together, and especially when I see it and hear about it here in VR, I'm just fascinated by it. So we want to welcome Miss Brown Diamond here to come and sit with her husband really quick. Come on in here, honey. Brown Diamond is the wife of Second Life Rich. She's also an educator.
I'll
And
let you
she
be on that
works.
side.
Come on down a little bit. There you go. I love to spotlight husbands and wives that work together in a VR space. So thank you for joining us here in on the couch. Um,
Thank you.
yeah. Um, Brown Diamond, like I mentioned, she's in education, and so she works alongside of her husband. And I'm sure you guys have many conversations about how your brands will grow and how you guys are going to continue to work together. Tell us, what does working with your husband in this space mean to you, if you don't mind, Miss Brown?
Well, well, to start off with, I was not even interested or even knew anything about the headset, or
Right.
anything with the metaverse.
Ever stepped
Second
out and
Life
stepped back
Rich
in.
had already been immersed in it completely long before I was even brought into it. So he introduced it to me, and he bought me my first headset. And
What were
we
you
went
saying?
on ahead and had the headset. We had it on,
We couldn't
and we
hear
also
because
had
it
an
was really quiet.
opportunity
Can you hear her
to
now?
use it to kind
It's
of
all right. It's all right.
communicate with our family as well. Because at the time, our daughter was off at college. So we
Mm-hmm.
wanted a way of to keep in contact. So it was introduced kind of that way with the headset and being in the VR, on these different platforms and everything. And I was like, okay, all right, show me what it's like in here. But once he did that, it was amazing. I
Mm-hmm.
was meeting and talking to wonderful, great people. And I just
Mm-hmm.
never knew that that connection could even be there inside of the headset. I
Well,
just
Mm.
didn't see
Brown,
the vision
I'm
until he
sure you
showed me it.
I'm sure you just helped a whole lot of moms out just a second ago. Okay, so moms, did you hear this mama right here? She said that her daughter went to college, they got a headset, and they still were able to have family time with
Mhm.
putting on a
Yes, we were.
headset and meeting in a place and still being able to sense her presence, also pick up on that body language to make sure she okay.
Right.
So
Yes, we
We
did.
we
Yes.
have we have all of our family meetings, like, ever since then. We have all of our family meetings with her because she's still in college, but she
amazing.
graduates this month, and we have a
Mhm.
meeting this Sunday, and we're gonna sit in the Hellcat. We sit in our car in the Hellcat and
Yeah.
In the
talk about
headset.
important things. Yeah.
Yes.
So we've got some planning that we've got to do, and we're gonna
Right,
do it
right.
in there. We sit in the headset and we do it. Yeah.
A family
It's
that
just
play
such more of a
together.
connection than just being on the
Yeah.
phone. It's just
Yeah.
more of a
Yeah.
connect. We
Hmm.
feel like we're next to each other and we're participating together. It's just more of a personal connection,
That's
Hmm.
than
good.
being on the phone, or even when you video chat. It's
Yeah.
Yeah.
still
Yeah. We go
it's that
bowling.
connections is different.
We
Hmm.
we've gone bowling. We play this
We play
food game.
games
What's the name of
together.
that food game that we play?
I can't
I
remember
forget the
it.
name of it, but it's this
Yeah.
food game. We all go in here and sit down and got to make these meals. But we've done that with her, and not only with her, but also her boyfriend. We sent him a
Yes.
headset,
Oh,
and we all
We got him in the
yeah,
headset too.
Now that's
So once
so
we
we'll
outstanding.
find that,
all be
that's
yeah.
another thing about us is that once, I mean, he had already had the vision and the value of having a headset. And then once he
Mhm.
introduced it to me, we both collaborate and try to figure out how to get other people
In here.
Mhm.
into a headset. So we
Yes.
introduce the headset to a
Yeah.
lot of
We're
people.
always sending out headsets.
Yes.
We're
Always
sending out
sending out
headsets to people
headsets.
like give it a try. Like come on.
Right. Yeah.
Because that
Yeah.
we want to help people get past the first barrier, which is
Yeah.
usually
Yes.
like, okay,
With
yes,
the
you say I
price
can be
of
in a
it.
headset, but the price of the headsets, they're quite expensive.
Hmm.
So
Mhm.
people, if they don't see the value of it's really hard to
They
spend
won't
your
do it.
money on it. So we try
Mhm.
to
Yeah.
break that first barrier
Yeah.
right there. Like, hey, let's send you a headset. Let's
Even when
help
it
you
come to
That's
get
our
set
right.
up.
clients,
And
like
then
even when
once
it
you
come
get
to our
in there, then
clients,
you see what's happening.
we give them a free headset sometimes too. You know,
Yes, we
so
do.
when it come to the clients, when it come to family, when it come to friends, doesn't matter if it's somebody that we value. We'll send them a headset.
Yes.
Mhm.
We
Mhm.
sure will.
Yeah.
We
Just to break that
understand
first
that
barrier.
tactic. Yes. Yeah.
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
because
Yes.
actually this onboarding experience, they need us.
Yeah.
They need us with the entire onboarding and understanding what to do once you get into this space.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
So I think that is a great form of customer service as well, because
Mm-hmm.
we are the front line to help them identify where they need to be and how they need to be moving here. So
Mm-hmm.
great, great, great. Look,
Definitely.
Mhm.
Definitely.
one final question for the lovely couple. Where do you guys see your vision here in the city of Adam with your brands?
Okay. Well, so for me, I'm going to use the HumAi LLC office as our kind of like headquarters for pretty much like everything that we got going on. So,
Mm-hmm.
her sped by me is in there. Also, the Civil Rights Institute, like the link to that world is in there. But mainly, the digital skills workshop is going. We're going to start having our public Q&A events in there, and we've
Okay.
got one that's coming up. I'm actually going to drop the video announcing it tomorrow. And
Okay.
we're gonna have a panelist. IT Trey said he's gonna be on it. I think Cyber Shay said she'll be on it. DJ Marcus J. But yeah, so we're gonna be hosting our like pretty much like all the Q and public Q&As because some people don't have workrooms, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Or like when it come to Lux VR, we're gonna host our Lux VR in there, or when it come to her Spare by Me, maybe she'll host a Spare by Me in there, but it'll be like pretty much the place that we can because you got the seating in there and the backstage and all of
Mm-hmm.
that, and so it's a central area. Everyone has Horizon Worlds, and and getting here on the 200 block is easy, so
It sure
we think it's a
is.
good
Get on
space
in
for that.
here. It is. It's a perfect location. It is a perfect location. Y'all, thank y'all so much for coming in here tonight and sharing about y'all lives, what your visions are for the future. We look forward to chatting up with y'all again the next time that we have you here on the show. We'll be touring your space. I do that when you come back for your next season. I like to show the outside world what we're doing here in this space. So on
Nice.
the next time y'all come back, we're gonna do that. Any final thoughts you wanna share or any shout outs or tell everybody where to find you?
I'll go after you. You got something you want to share?
No, you can go ahead and go first.
Okay. Well, big shout out to the Digital Skills Workshop. In here right now, we've got IT Trey, we've got Diane back
Shut
there.
up.
We had some other people in here, but they're gone. And then big shout out to Mr. Arroyo. We got him back
Yo.
there. He's a LuxeVR Club member. And,
Mm-hmm.
just shout out to everyone else that's been with us along this journey. The community has been very, very supportive of both of us
They
and pretty
have. I
much
Mm-hmm.
would agree.
all
Yeah.
of our projects and endeavors. And so
Mm-hmm.
just shout out to everyone for all of that and keep coming along because we've got a lot of new stuff coming up. And yeah, thank you.
We
Shout
do, and
out
we
to
really
Amina.
appreciate the support that we definitely get from everybody in the metaverse. Like it's really nice. The love and care that we receive is wonderful.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
Outstanding. I love to
Definitely.
hear it. I love to hear it.
Shout out Amina for having us on the podcast.
Yes, thank you
Absolutely,
for having us on
absolutely.
here. Thank you.
That's my goal to make sure that definitely everyone that is a resident here in the city that we take that time to spotlight you and to show that there are real businesses here in the city of Adam and they are productive and they are paving the way. So
Mhm.
ladies
Yes.
and gentlemen, thank y'all so much for joining us tonight. All you audience members, YouTube, we thank you for joining us this week. If you're interested in anything that we discussed. Our contact information will be in the description as well as Second Rich and Brown Diamond here. If you have any questions, don't hesitate. Please download the Horizon Worlds app on your phone. Jump in on 2D. We'll show you around and educate you on how to get you a headset and come and join us here in the city of Adam. Until next week, we'll talk to you later. Bye.
Let's go.